Are you lost in the chaos of today's society? If all you need is a daily dose of quick updates on social matters around you, then look no further and tune into The Far Side, an 8-minute social inquiry podcast by English Club of Foreign Trade University. Strap in and get yourselves ready to look at the world from a whole new perspective. And it all starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Far Side. My name is Cam and joining me today is a new voice and a personal friend of mine, Zoe.
Hello everyone, what a pleasure to be here talking to you guys. So last week we had such an interesting discussion about trends on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of trends, some are considering coming out as an LGBTQ plus to be just another trend, owing to the number of people who have been, coming out recently. Being a member of the community yourself, what's your take on the idea?
So I am quite familiar with the matter. If I do say so myself, coming out of the closet or coming out refers to the process that people who are LGBTQ plus go through as they work to accept their sexual orientations or gender identity and to share that identity openly with other people. Oh, and in case you're wondering, LGBTQ plus is a initialism for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer or questioning. The plus is there to encompass numerous other sexual and gender identity.
I see. But what I find puzzling is whether you could call coming out a trend.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Well, in order to validate whether it is a trend or not, we have to look back on the existence of homosexuality throughout history. So, have you ever heard of the Warren Cup?
Yes. Is it a Roman silver drinking cup decorated in relief with two images of male same-sex acts?
Yes, and it dates back almost 2,000 years. It's a fact that homosexuality has been existing since ancient Greeks. Even in Greek mythology, one can mention the famous yet tragic love story of Apollo, the god of the sun, and Hyacinth.
Tell me more about it.
Well, while pursuing the peaceful life of the shepherd, Apollo formed a strong relationship with a boy named Hyacinth. One day, when Hyacinth was throwing discus with Apollo and running too eagerly to take up the one thrown by the god, he was struck on the head with it and killed. When Hyacinth died, Apollo blamed himself and went to great grief. He wished to become immortal and join his lover in his death. However, as that was not possible, Apollo promised that he would always remember Hyacinth in his songs and the music of his lyre.
What a tragedy it is. So what you are trying to say is homosexuality has been around for a very long time, like long before modern society?
Exactly. Thus, it is not a trend.
But that's not the only story. You know, modern human society does not consider love between two persons who share the same sex a normal thing. Until the end of the 20th century, people even classify homosexuality as paranoid schizophrenia, a mental illness, until 1990.
Oh, so now our big question is, why do queer people have to come out?
Wait, I think I'm starting to understand more about this. We can see that the acceptance of homosexuality is based on the countries you live in. With more economically developed countries tend to be more tolerant. Unfortunately, in most countries, people, especially the older generations, still discriminate against queer people.
That is exactly the reason why queer people have to come out. I mean, they want to live as a true self and the true colors, to be who they are, to be in love, and to get married with whom they want to.
Well, sadly, despite the legalization of gay marriage and the high rate of tolerance in America, hate crimes against queer communities still account for almost 1 in 5 of hate crimes incidents reported.
With that being said, LGBT people totally have the right to be proud. I mean, basically, they're not only proud of their sexuality, but also proud of how they have fought for the right to love the person they want, about overcoming the difficulties in claiming recognition of the whole society for decades. Sadly, in Vietnam, same-sex marriage has not been recognized, and yet the government has not supported changing personal information on the paperwork for transgender people.
To be honest, discrimination and hatred towards the queer is still in presence. I wonder if you have ever experienced or have witnessed a case. Oh, and I'm so sorry if this is a sensitive question for you.
Well, personally, I have never experienced such a situation, but I have read a lot of stories in which many hate and stigma towards gay and trans people were told by real people in real life.
So, what will you say if, like, one day someone suddenly walks up to you and says, gay people cannot have children and so should not be allowed to get married? Or why is it so important for gay people to have marriage?
Well, having a baby or not has nothing to do with love between couples. What about asexuals? People who simply are not interested in sexual acts and those who are incapable of having children. Love is much greater than the act of maintaining the bloodline, and I know for sure that humankind won't go extinct just because homosexuality exists. The reason LGBT people want to have marriage is the same reason it is to straight people. Our relationships are just as loving and valid as heterosexual relationships, but our current marriage laws suggest it is not. We are equally human and we should be treated by the law as such.
How ridiculous the points of view are. Vietnamese media often calls the LGBT community by the term the third world. I find this funny because this term refers to developing countries or low and lower middle income countries. You know, people can be gay and rich at the same time.
Yeah, couldn't it be more perfect?
Not only that, but the media also mention sexual orientation and gender identity. To be honest, I'm a little confused between these two terms.
Actually, we need to understand these three terms: biological sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Biological sex is determined by biological factors such as anatomy, hormones, and chromosome. From there, we know whether a person is male or female. Gender identity is an individual's deeply held sense of being male, female, or another gender. This is separate from biological sex. Sexual orientation is about our physical, emotional, and romantic attractions to others.
So, biological sex is the gender in which you were born, while sexual orientation, such as bisexual, pansexual, asexual, is the way you choose the person you love, and gender identity is how you see yourself. Do I get it right?
Yes, you did. And as a result, a person born female who sees themselves as a man is called a female to male transgender. And if he is attracted to another man, he is a gay transgender. Or, he's just who he is. Love is love, and love is not a label.
Also, quick question. So, when I meet someone whom I don't know for sure what to call them, he, him, or she, her, what should I do?
Do just ask for their pronouns. They will appreciate it very much. Well, I'm proud of having you as a friend.
Aw, I'm proud to be your friend too. Actually, I used to join a pride parade as a companion, and I noticed that although homosexual acceptance is only widespread among the younger generation, it can be seen that LGBT social movements in our country attract great attention. Like with Pride, it's the most successful event which has been organized in 37 provinces and cities.
And as a result, Vietnamese people's mindset about LGBT has changed positively owing to these social movements.
Indeed. Don't you know that in February 2012, there was a wedding of two women in Cà Mau, which has been one of the events that encouraged the queer to stand up asking for their rights.
What happened?
The wedding was halted, and the two families are told that this wedding was wrong by the authorities, and they were forced to pledge that they would not live together. This affair attracted great attention from the press, as they reported a lot about it. The story triggered a campaign to legalize same-sex marriages that lasted until May 2014. The result is same-sex marriage was no longer prohibited, but also not recognized, and we can call it a great achievement.
I can tell that you have had a lot of knowledge for yourself in this field here.
That was a really good talk, but I'm afraid our conversation has to end here. We hope our discussion has given you a little bit more knowledge about our lovely rainbow community. Thank you guys so much for listening, and if you are queer, you are always welcome to come out of the closet. I am Zoe, your host in today's episode.
And I am Cam. Goodbye, and see you again soon in the future episodes of The Far Side.
And that is it for this episode. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy what we do here, visit our Facebook fan pages, English Club of Foreign Trade University and Mastermind, English Social Inquiry Contest, for regular updates, and we would love to hear your take on the matters we just discussed. A quick reminder, new episodes come out every Monday and Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on Google, Apple Podcast, and even Spotify, so make sure not to miss it. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.